Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, California Weather Watch. Today's February 29th. Happy Leap Day to everybody out there. Happens once every 4 years. Anyway, taking a look here at the mid-level water vapor loop, you can clearly see what's been talked about for the last few days. Look at this very cold air across the Gulf of Alaska. It's now making its way into some of the Pacific Northwest. Frontal system draped down across some of Northern California as we speak. We'll be pushing down much of the state as we go through the day today, ushering in this very cold air mass and prolonged very cold conditions, especially across the mountainous areas. We got blizzard warnings. We got all kinds of stuff going on. High wind watches and warnings all over the place. We got big waves coming all the way down the coastline and even some flooding potential out there as well. We'll dive into all these details as we go through the video this morning. You can see the frontal system as we got the Doppler radar overlaid. You can see kind of that narrow cold frontal rain band moving across the area. And as the sun rises here on the visible satellite imagery, you can kind of see that frontal system there. So yeah, it's on its way here, folks. Probably not a good idea to travel by now. Hopefully you are ready to go if you're across the Sierra Nevada. And if you're traveling up there, you may get stuck. So be very careful out there. You're probably going to be more of a hindrance to emergency personnel out there. So I highly recommend you do not go up into the mountains unless you absolutely have to. It probably needs to be some kind of an emergency. And I'd be surprised if I-80 and a lot of the highways in the backcountry are not closed for extended periods of time. You may get stuck for days. Well, taking a look here, small hail Friday and Saturday. This is with that cold air aloft arriving behind that frontal system. This is Eureka, California. We have thunderstorm potential here over the next few days as well. And so that's just one more threat we get to deal with here. And you can see what to do when you see some of that hail or some of the snow pellets on the road out there. And you can see on Eureka, it's also talking about the snow levels down to 1,000 feet across a lot of the area, of course, with some of the huge amounts incoming here. You got winter storm warnings all over the place. And we still got the blizzard warnings you can see in the red across the Sierra Nevada. More on that here in a moment. But I want to point out also we got the high surf advisory for some of the coastal areas, and big waves are going to swoop all the way down the state towards Southern California over the next couple days as well. I'll take a look at that here in a second. And the storm timeline, you can see Sacramento has upgraded this today to extreme. It's going to get wild up there pretty quick. Snow levels are starting fairly high, 45 to 5,500 feet, and these will come crashing down as we go through the day tomorrow. And then by Saturday, look at this, they could be down to 1,000 feet for some areas. And then finally by Sunday and Monday, we'll be wrapping up some of those showers here and some of that snow, but it may take a while to be clearing a lot of those highways and back roads. So take that into account. Blizzard conditions, check it out, 5 to 10 feet above 5,000 feet. That's 5 to 10 feet. That's not 5 to 10 inches. And you can see widespread areas under those blizzard conditions, almost right up towards Reno there. They are under a winter storm warning as of right now. And some accumulations all the way down towards 2,000 feet, maybe even lower than that. And some just absolutely huge wind gusts up here, prolonged wind as well. And that's why the blizzard conditions have been issued, the blizzard warnings. Now, precipitation forecast, as this frontal system comes through, like I mentioned, the snow levels are going to start off, 45 to 5,000 feet up there. So you could have some flooding concerns as it brings some heavy precipitation in initially, and then it's going to drop back down to some lower areas as we go on through Friday, Saturday, and by Sunday morning, possibly down towards 1,000 feet. So moderate impacts with that. Watch out for ponding water on roadways, and you can see not bad precipitation amounts for some of the valley areas also. Now, looking at the high surf and hazardous ocean conditions down to Southern California. And I just wanted to point this out. This is going to be coming all the way down the state. And then you can see inexperienced boaters remain in port, strong rip currents and longshore currents, minor flooding into some beach areas. Great graphic here, as always, from the National Weather Service, Los Angeles. And if we put this into motion, you can clearly see the waves arriving with this frontal system as we go through early tomorrow morning. Look at the wave action just move all the way down the coastline here and remain elevated as we go through this weekend and continue all the way on and through Monday. Then we get a bit of a break here, and we may have additional storms arriving, so we got to watch that one off in our extended forecast as well. More on that here in upcoming days, but I'll show you a little bit of that in some of the extended forecasts in a moment. Now, looking at light to moderate rain Thursday through Sunday, I wanted to point this out because you can see the potential I-5 grapevine snow up to an inch, and snow levels dropping down. Pretty chilly storm here, so you can see some of the higher terrain in Southern California is going to get in on that snowfall as well. And, we're going to bring some rainfall, another inch to 2 inches on very saturated soils out there, so we could have some mud and rock slides out there as well. Some gusty winds also, point that out. And this is kind of an interesting graphic here by the National Weather Service Hanford, that I throw it up here. Some good ideas of things you might want to have in your car if you absolutely must be out and about traveling. Pause it here and take a look at that stuff. Now, look at the blizzard warning does extend down into the southern Sierra Nevada here. And again, 5 to 8 feet above 6,000 feet. So if you do get stuck for some reason, stay with your vehicle, and travel should be restricted to emergency only. This is a very life-threatening situation. If you try to go out and about, there's going to be California, blowing snow. You may not even be able to see the road or even drive, and then you'll get stuck and you have nowhere to go, and nobody's going to be able to come up and get you. So keep that in the back of your mind. National Weather Service Reno is now under storm warning here, and this mainly starts tonight, and this goes all the way through this weekend. It's probably going to be extended out longer than that, and whiteout conditions at times late Friday into Saturday especially. And also blizzard warning just off to the east here. So life-threatening conditions likely. Now we got high winds on the way across some of the desert areas as well. Check out Las Vegas is under this as we go on in through Saturday. Some big gusts coming. Tonopah, Goldfield, Beatty, Furnace Creek, some of Death Valley as well. Some of the desert areas also, and kind of off into northern Arizona as well, the Mojave Desert also. Could have some blowing dust out there also. And take a look at some of these gusts as we go through the day Saturday. I mean, you're talking Goldfield up towards 50 miles per hour, Independence up over 60. Look at Las Vegas getting the upper 50s. Starts getting pretty crazy. You can start doing some damage when you get winds of this speed. So, very strong frontal system moving down across the area. And then all that cold air loss is going to keep this gradient going all the way on in through Monday. Probably wrapping up on Monday. And I wanted to kind of show you this again, a wider view of things where the extreme impacts are expected across the higher terrain down the Sierra Nevada as well. And you can see even some moderate impacts across some of the higher terrain in Southern California. And this storm may bring some surprises and some snow to some of the hilltops around the Bay Area even that don't normally get it, or maybe in the form of some small hail or some snow pellets covering the roadways and whatnot too. So kind of keep that in the back of your mind if you're going to be out and about hiking across some of the Bay Area. Now look at the current hazards, kind of a wider view. This is the high wind watch, so there's high wind warnings, blizzard warnings, and there's that wind advisory up the I-5 corridor. Now it does include Sacramento and places just to the south, so heads up for that. You still got the wind along some of the coastline with the frontal system marching down. So what exactly is a blizzard? Sustained winds or frequent gusts greater than 35 miles per hour and considerable falling and or blowing snow, frequently reducing visibility to less than a quarter mile for 3 hours. And yes, you have to have that for 3 hours, and we're probably going to easily meet that for much of the Sierra Nevada here over the next few days. And you're probably going to be going on for days, not just 3 hours here. So very dangerous blizzard conditions are expected. Now, taking a look at the excessive rainfall outlook again, just want to call attention to when this frontal system comes across, the snow levels are going to be a bit higher, and you could have some flooding concerns before those snow levels crash back down as we go on in through this weekend. Now, day 1 through 3 also has thunderstorm potential across a lot of the state, mainly central and northern California for thunderstorm activity, so heads up for that. And some small hail and snow pellets may cover the roadways in some areas. So looking at 100-meter wind speed, I want to put this into motion. You can see the frontal system that makes its way across the afternoon today, across some of the Bay Area and on through central California into the Sierra Nevada. And the main thing I want to point out is that we got prolonged period of very strong winds for the Sierra Nevada. And then this is going to come and swoop down across some of the desert areas and Las Vegas. And you can see it's going to be gusty on the coastline as well. And there's big wave action out there. So pretty crazy storm for much of the state. And again, we're now on into Sunday morning there. And you can see those high winds still ongoing. And we start to wrap things up a little bit here as we go through Sunday. So good news on that probably Sunday the winds will be wrapping up. But you still have today, Friday, and Saturday with some very strong winds with the blowing snow and heavy snowfall falling out of the sky. Now, looking at the European, I like to show this because you can see Alaska's here, it's the Pacific Ocean, California at the bottom right, and you can see the track that wind is taking at the surface here. Just kind of a nice visual representation of what is going on with those cold air spilling off of Alaska. And this is another way to look at it at 5,000 feet, 850 millibars. There's Hawaiian Islands at the bottom left. Here's the state of California here. So we put that into motion. You can clearly see the fast track this very cold air is taking. It's going to be prolonged all the way on and through this weekend, probably not wrapping up till some point on Monday coming up here. Now, if we look at 30,000 feet, I just want to kind of show you how strong the jet stream is above us as well. You can see this really coming off the coastline. Check it out. We're looking almost 200 miles per hour here, blasting off of Alaska. It's kind of what's known as a cross-polar flow. This air is coming almost all the way from Siberia here, so it's helping to bring it all the way across Alaska, into the Gulf of Alaska, and back into California. Just a perfect track here for some very dynamic snowfall potential incoming. And yeah, right about there, we're looking almost 200 miles per hour at 30,000 feet. And if we look at the northern hemisphere, you can see this is what's known as a long wave. And you can kind of see this ridging built all the way up across into western Alaska, across the Bering Sea here. And it's allowing this cross-polar flow. You can imagine that wind coming down like this on the backside of the ridge, a long wave here, and back into California here. And if we put it into motion, you notice it's not moving too fast either. You know, it's kind of hanging out for a bit here as we go through this weekend before it finally attempts to swing through here. And then we may have more systems on the backside of that as well. well. Now, taking a look here at the European model, this is last night's run. Put this into motion. There goes our frontal system, and you can see we just continue to pour this cold air into the region here. We're doing 6-hour chunks, and finally by Monday, it looks like we start to wrap up that precip, but we may have another storm kind of on the way right after that. We'll see how that goes. We'll watch that one in the upcoming days. And also, I wanted to kind of check that next storm. It looks like it has a little bit better of a subtropical tap, at least according to the European. You can kind of see it there. So anyway, we'll worry about that as we go. First things first. We got a pretty dynamic storm to deal with initially. And here's the GFS. This is a 06Z last night's run. Again, with the snowfall, just absolutely blasting the Sierra Nevada. This is going to go on for several days and probably all the way on in towards Monday. Let's see. Monday morning, the GFS still has snowfall ongoing across the Sierra Nevada. Finally wrapping up by Monday afternoon for the most part. And then it brings another system here out of the northwest. Maybe another round mountain snow. Who knows? We'll see how that goes. And you can see maybe additional systems way off into fantasy land. And those might be a little bit different orientated, maybe a little bit of a subtropical tap. We'll see how that goes. Now, looking at the North American model, you can see some of these little areas around some of the Bay Area. So you may see some of that across some of the higher terrain. That may be one of the surprises we get. Not really a surprise. I mean, there's a lot of cold air aloft here. And when you get thunderstorm activity, you might drop some of these you might drop the freezing precipitation down to some of the lower elevations here. So I don't want anybody to be caught off guard here. If you're going to be out and about across some of the hills around the Bay Area or some of these mountains, even on the coastal range here too, you can see snowfall and some very raw temperatures, gusty winds, not optimal for hiking out there. And this is Southern California. I kind of extended it out as well. You can see the southern Sierra Nevada up here, and you can kind of see some interesting totals showing up across the Southern California mountains also. And you saw there could be some moderate impacts with that, maybe even the Grapevine getting a little bit of snowfall with this system. So if we scroll through here, looking at Northern California, you can see just the ridiculous amounts coming in here. This is about 4 p.m. this afternoon. You can see the snow is going to be flying here, folks. This is like starting up right now. So the time has come and gone to be trying to travel across the Sierra Nevada and the backcountry there. That's done with here, folks. Hopefully you guys have heeded the warnings, and you can see as we scroll out to about Saturday at noontime here, some ridiculous totals. Some of the North American model runs are showing up over 10 feet just by Saturday afternoon, with a long way to go here still through this, all the way through Sunday. The snow is going to be flying. And just a wider look at things here. You can see, again, today, the snow is going to be flying here, folks. So hopefully you did your traveling and you are prepared if you're across the Sierra Nevada. You can see some of the higher hills in the coastal range all the way down through Southern California, picking up some of that snowfall there as well. So don't be surprised to see it. This is the national blend of models here. So this is the daily 2-meter minimum temperature. So you can see that colder air kind of moving in there. We're getting some pretty chilly overnight lows. Like as we go into Sunday and Monday, you can see a lot of 30s out there, and especially across the higher terrain, of course. But just have a heads up for that. We're going to be dealing with this chilly air as we go on in through next week as well before we start to moderate a bit. Now, looking at Donner Summit, again, as we go through the day today, the snow levels are going to be dropping down. And look at some of these amounts just in the, you're talking about 100 inches it shows right there. Look at that, 25, 50, 75, 100. And the snow levels are going to be getting pretty low. And the snow lovers are going to love it as well. But you can see Echo Pass also pretty similar there. And you can see Tioga Pass, big totals incoming and lowering snow levels as we go through the weekend. And you can see it's probably just starting to snow here across some of I-80, Truckee, Tahoe, Donner Lake, Donner Summit, Castle Peak. And yeah, so it's starting here, folks. It's going to start a little bit later as we go a little bit further south here, but you guys get the picture. But anyway, yeah, wanted to try to get this video out quickly this morning, kind of remind everybody that hopefully you're not trying to go up there and travel. I mean, if you're trying to ski and you're going up to a higher pass, I don't know. Hopefully you're getting back pretty quick tonight, because if you try going up there and you're staying the night somewhere up there, you may not be able to get back. Just kind of a reminder there. But yeah, you guys know the drill. So anyway, yeah, we'll do this again tomorrow. We're going to watch off in the extended because, March may continue to bring storm systems into the state of California. That would be kind of exciting here. But this is a truly dynamic storm rolling in here. So we got to enjoy this one while it lasts. And hopefully everybody's ready. This is going to be great for the Sierra Nevada. I mean, we're probably going to go well above normal after the storm system. And if we get additional storms after that, we're going to be doing really good as far as snow water equivalent across the higher terrain. That would be back-to-back years. We'll keep Lake Tulare out there going across some of the valley areas as well. So anyway, hope you guys are liking these videos. Click like and subscribe. We will do this again tomorrow at the latest, and I will talk to you guys then.